Hey guys, it's Sebastian from AskSebby, and today we are going to round off a bunch of different topics that you probably want to know about for this week. One big favor before we dive into all of this though is to give this a thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. We'll start off with some American Express news, some general travel stuff, and then move into some hotel stuff. And then for that last topic, we will talk about a hacking situation, so you might want to stick around for that. For American Express, the first thing is that there is a targeted offer where you're going to be able to use one MR point, so one membership reward point, in order to get 20% off an Amazon order, up to $50 for that discount. The optimal strategy is to use exactly 1 point because that maximizes the discount without you having to go into those MR points. It is going to be a targeted offer, and I'll leave that link down below in the description box for you to check, and it does need to be sold and shipped by Amazon. Number 2 is that the American Express Centurion card, otherwise known as the Black Card, is taking applicants for the card. Normally it's an invite-only card and they contact you, but I guess now, given the circumstances, it's flipped around. I'm not sure if this is something that's been around for a while or whether it's something that's new, but someone did send me this from Instagram. Side note, follow our Instagram, AskSebby. If you are someone that wants to apply, then now might be that time to do it because their standards for spending might be a lot lower, but you're still probably looking at 6 figures in spend on your cards for you to get that invitation. So normally the spending range is about $100,000 to $1 million on your cards for a year. Before you attack me, I don't really think the card makes sense for most people, but that information is there. I've talked about it in prior videos. Moving into more relatable news, American Express is going to extend the intro bonus period by 3 months for people who are applying for cards. I'll put up a few other notes on the screen in case you are someone who wants the details, but I think this is a very good move, and if there's anyone from Chase or Citi or any of the other issuers watching, I feel like you should do the same thing. It feels fair. If you are someone whose spending hasn't really changed, but now you can hit a minimum spend, an intro bonus that you otherwise couldn't hit before, then I think now is a very good time to apply for that card. Your grocery spends, your rents, payments are probably going to stay the same. So given that 6-month period instead of 3-month period, it makes a lot more of these intro bonuses actually possible. The fourth story from American Express and also I guess other issuers is that we are going to start seeing them pull back on their marketing budgets. So typically when you look at a credit card company, there's 4 different levels. That first level is going to be the internal salespeople, and we actually have already seen American Express cut those people off and tell them to stand down. When I was researching for this video, I thought this happened a month ago, but looking back at the news and the dates, this was last week. So that first level is going to be the internal salespeople, second level is going to be affiliates, third level is going to be referrals, and then that fourth level is going to be intro bonuses. I wouldn't be surprised if we see affiliates getting cut off this month, and then we see referrals getting cut off next month. Intro bonuses, I think, are still going to stick around. If we see this extend until maybe September or maybe December, then I see intro bonuses being cut, but that leads us to a whole nother problem entirely. If everything is shut down until September or December, I think we're in a whole different world. The second factor is that a lot of these issuers are going to start increasing their standards, and I think making it harder for people to actually get approved. Part of this is them taking less risk, and then the other part is a lot of people actually using their credit cards and having higher utilization and therefore looking riskier. Given this, I think if you are someone that is interested in applying for a card, now is going to be the time to do it because they're going to focus on that top level rather than that middle layer. If you're someone of a player 2 or friends who have referral links, I'd strongly recommend using their links now while they still are alive before they disappear. And if you want to support creators, whether it's Ben from Credit Shifu, whether it's Brian Jung, whether it's AskSebby, consider using our links because it does really support the channels. Please don't apply for cards if they don't make sense for you, even if these issuers are leaving, just because I would want you guys to get the best offers and not to screw up your pathing. So if you're under 524, still go for those cards rather than rushing for these cards. And if you're someone who isn't going to get value from one of these American Express cards, then don't go for them. As always, if you do want to learn about any cards, a very easy way to support AskSebby is to use the links that are on our website. So if you go to AskSebby on the top, credit card offers, pretty much any of those links on that page will support the channel. And I'll also typically leave links in the description box down below. Jumping back over to Instagram, I have had a few people ask me whether they should travel, and I think the answer is still no. There's a whole list of reasons why you don't want to for the sake of other people, but even if you were completely selfish, it doesn't make sense for you because you're not going to have a good experience from that trip. If you fly to Spain, what do you think is going to happen? Everyone's self-quarantined. You're not going to have that experience that you were looking for. I get that people had honeymoons planned and other trips planned, but it just doesn't make sense for me. If you have the option of pushing it back or getting a full refund, do that instead and then just worry about the trip afterwards. As of right now on April 3rd, 2020, Japan is not taking any foreigners who have visited places like the US or Canada in the last 14 days. So theoretically, maybe you can go down to Mexico in order to try to find a flight, but I just generally don't think it's a good idea for other people and for you if you want to have a good trip. If you have to travel for work and it's something that's necessary, then go do that. But I think if it's something that's for fun, just stay at home. At this point, I hope we can travel again in the summer, but honestly, it might end up being fall. Jumping over to hotels, we have Hyatt extending status for people who have it for this year. So as of right now, so normally it's supposed to expire in 2021, you're going to have until 2022. If you have any anniversary nights that were supposed to expire this year, you're going to get a 1-year extension until December 31st, 2021. So whether it expires in June or whether it expires in December, they're all getting that extension until the end of 2021. Now through June 30th, 2020, if you do have a booking, they are going to waive fees if you booked directly and you cancel or change it up until 24 hours of arrival. If you didn't book with them directly, then you will need to contact your OTA, so your online travel agency or your travel agent, in order to figure that out. For hotels, I generally like to book directly, especially with these big chains. We have seen other hotel groups like Marriott doing the same thing, and given how fluid the situation is and how quickly things change, I'd strongly recommend looking at their press releases and seeing what their status is and their stance for stuff like status as well as these hotel nights are. On my end, I have a 7-night package from Marriott that is supposed to expire this summer, and I know that they're supposed to extend it until 2021, but I haven't seen that happen yet. I'm not too worried. I'm not contacting them yet for it because I still have so much time, but just something to be careful with and look at if you do have stuff that's expiring soon. Jumping over to Marriott, there's going to be 2 interesting stories. The first one relates to status and the second one relates to hacking. Ironically, also the second time they've been hacked in the last 2 years. For status, if you do have multiple of their cards, they're now going to give you 15 elite qualifying nights for up to 2 of your cards. So if you have 2 cards, you're getting 30 nights towards status. These are not nights that you can actively use. These are just nights for status. So for someone going for platinum status, you normally need 50 nights. This gets you 30 nights if you have 2 cards. Pretty minor change, but at least I think this makes it reasonable for non-consultants to actually get status compared to before where you had to do a lot of nights. 20 nights is definitely still a lot, but it's a lot better than 35 nights. The last topic is going to be Marriott getting hacked, and the last time they were hacked was November 2018, which was through SPG. So arguably it's not their fault because they acquired SPG and it was SPG that was hacked, but I still find this kind of funny. This time it's not going to be them directly either, it's going to be one of their franchisees. And it's going to be names, emails, home addresses, phone numbers, gender, birthday, frequent flyer numbers, and loyalty account number. So it is going to be a bit better than last time since last time included passport numbers, but generally still not a good thing. On your end, there's not really much you can do other than keeping an eye out on your accounts, so your frequent flyer accounts as well as your Marriott accounts. The main risk is that for some of these other programs, they might try to cash out your points. The other part of it is going to be making sure that you actually have a good password and that your password is not compromised. Have I Been Pwned is a pretty good place to see if your email has been compromised on another site, and the big risk here is you using your password for multiple different sites. So I'd check that one to see if you're on that list, and most people probably are at some point, and making sure secondarily that you have different passwords. That might mean using a password manager to make sure that they're different, or if you don't want to deal with that or you just don't trust those things, then it might make sense to have a schema that is at least a bit complicated. Random example right now, maybe I have my passwords in a specific way, so I have one thing that stays the same, AskSebby, and then I have other variables that relate to the brand or the product. So I have AskSebby, I put H for hotels, and then I put red because Marriott's logo is red. Maybe I put 7 because that's how I feel about the company out of 10. For Facebook, maybe I use exactly the same thing, and then I use S for social, and then I use blue for the color. I know a lot of people aren't going to do this, but please look into changing your passwords because we're already dealing with so many other things. The last thing you want is getting hacked and getting your identity stolen online. Wrapping up the video, my question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on any of these topics? Let me in the community know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. If you know anyone else who'd benefit from what we just talked about, share this with them. It'll probably help them out. But otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bing bong bing. Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, it's Sebastian from AskSebby.